Well, we're back. And we're back to talk about there's a lot of guys getting signed. And this is teams just getting their books ready for next year. So while we still have a lot of names that are outstanding, I get the feeling there's GMs that are just signing everybody else. We'll see what we got left over, and can we still take a run at Johansson? Can we still take a run at one of these B-level free agents that's out there? Nikita Zadorov has re-signed a one-year contract. He sent out on Twitter. His way of announcing he'd re-signed was showing the hit, an image of the hit that he threw on Jack Eichel last year. So Buffalo Sabres fans may not want to check out Zadorov's Twitter feed right now. I'll wait. Don't do it. I'll wait. No, don't. Nick Cousins has signed a one-year, $1 million contract with Montreal, so Montreal continues to get depth, and that's important. And there's a feeling that Bergevin probably isn't done on the blue line as well, that he may need to sign one more name to that blue line. Zemgus Girgensons gets $1.6 million for 1 year with Buffalo. I'm actually kind of surprised they kept him. I was surprised at them qualifying him and that him still being a Buffalo Sabre. But, again, while he's never lived up to that 2012 first-round draft pick status that he had, truth is, he's one of the 2012 first-round draft picks that hasn't been traded. So that's something. Cedric Paquette signs a 2-year, $3.3 million extension with Tampa, which is worth $1.65 million. So for $50,000, you go from Zemgus Girgensons to Paquette, I guess. And then if you want to go cheaper, Josh Levo gets a 1-year, $1.5 million extension for the Canucks. I'm very happy with that, of course. Thanks, Toronto. And people have been asking a lot about why can't Besser get an offer sheet? Brock Besser in his career hasn't played enough games to qualify for an offer sheet. So it's one of those things the Canucks don't have to worry about. That means that since he doesn't have arbitration rights and he can't get an offer sheet, really the Canucks are in the driver's seat on that one. There is not a whole lot of pressure on Benning right now to get things done. This has been discussed on both TSN and Sportsnet, so I'll throw it on here. I'm wearing a Sens jersey for this because why not with the Scooby-Doo eyes. Really, honestly, this is the weirdest logo. Ontario cabinet minister that's at a Rolling Stones concert spots Eugene Melnyk and apparently went on a tirade against him and called him an idiot, among other things. And he ratted her out. He went to the government and hey, this person's being mean to me. So she's had to apologize. It's weird. It's strange. It's very Canadian. Make her say sorry. Okay. Can you imagine, like, Mitch McConnell being in an elevator with an owner of an NHL team? You're an idiot. You're a dope. And then, hey, you got to go apologize. And Mitch comes, I'm sorry. It's so Canadian that a minister has to come out and apologize for being mean to Eugene Melnyk, while Sens fans were probably yelling whatever else from the concert floor, but Melnyk couldn't hear it. So maybe they didn't know he was there. But, yeah, so the Senators make news for all the wrong reasons, or all the funny reasons, depending on your point of view of whether or not you're a Sens fan. Mike Sullivan has signed a 4-year extension in Pittsburgh. So they trade Kessel, they extend Sullivan. Those two things may very well have gone together. There was talk about, at the end of this year, Kessel and Sullivan just could not stand one another, and Rutherford realized that if he was going to keep his coach, Kessel had to go. So Kessel leaves, and now Sullivan signs a 4-year contract. And the Columbus Blue Jackets will keep Harrington on their blue line for 3 more years, $4.9 million in total, $1.63 million cap hit. Excellent deal for this guy. Good depth defenseman that can fill in top 4 as well. And so Columbus manages to keep that. And honestly, all the doom and gloom about Columbus, I don't necessarily buy it. Yes, they've lost Panarin. Yes, they've lost Bobrovsky. If their goaltending is hot garbage, then they fall. Agreed. 110%. But there's still enough depth in their forward group, and their blue line's still pretty solid. Columbus shouldn't be just a pushover and going into a rebuild because they couldn't keep the guys that they lost. And I don't really count Duchesne and Dzingel because they were rentals. And yes, they paid a heavy price later for those rentals, but for right now, their roster is pretty good. And I wanted to end with this. Marcus Kruger has signed in the Swiss League. So, of course, he went back to Chicago, and he's now signed to the Swiss League. There are a lot of players who at this time of year start signing in the KHL and various European leagues. And it's something that I could look at later in the summer as a whole. Sort of like, hey, if you're wondering where these players are, they've signed in the European leagues. But a lot of these guys are older. They may have fallen out of the NHL. An example is Kunlun Red Star in China signing Adam Cracknell and adding him to a long, long list of former NHLers that they've been picking up. Red Star, however, missed the playoffs in the KHL this year and last year, so they're just trying to get back into being a playoff team. It's a good option for a player who's not going to get paid in the NHL anymore. This is where the salary cap squeezes guys like this out, where under a non-cap situation, a team like Toronto might have given a guy like this a shot. A team like Montreal might have. But with the cap being as it is, it does squeeze out veteran players faster. It means that if they want to make their money, they go over to Europe and do it. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're not good enough to be in the NHL. It just means you're going to have your rookies on entry level. You're going to have your star players getting paid. And some of the guys that are not either of those things and don't quite fit in with some of the spots you have on your roster, rather than giving them a shot, they end up in Europe. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. We do not have a cap number yet for Zadorov. I'd imagine that'll come in before the end of the day. But let me know your thoughts about these moves and which of these teams you think is going to be most active over the next couple of weeks. Where does Johansson go? That's the one I'm really interested in because, honestly, he was a beast for Boston. I'll be very interested to see where he lands. But let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You're just tapping upon this video. And, hey, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.